Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we have something quite unique. A feminist who admits that feminism is not for men. Unfortunately, that doesn't make her smart, only different. I suppose you could characterize her more in the rad fem spectrum. Either way, we're here to fight the matriarchy, aren't we? So bring it on, snowflake. Enjoy.
What?
Hello everyone, it's Sophie aka the Feminist Killjoy here.
Is that your new stripper name?
Well, it's refreshing that you know what you are, and on that note, hi, I'm Undoomed, and I'm here to pour some sodium chloride into your wound.
I'm going to do a video today on feminism in general. I feel like with my previous video I kind of jumped in at the deep end a little bit with regards to feminist terminology and theory that maybe some of the people watching it didn't quite understand.
Of course. It's never your fault. It's never that you said something stupid or unintelligible. It's always these other guys.
I feel like some of the responses I got to the video were people coming from a place of not knowing feminism.
Or maybe they did know feminism and they don't like it.
And hearing this term misandry as a buzzword that they've heard before and kind of instantly reacting to that.
Well, what the fuck did you expect when you said that misandry does not and cannot exist?
So I wanted to do a video today just basically on what feminism is.
Wow, you're so original. No one's ever done that before.
So you'll probably hear quite a lot of people throwing around the phrase feminism is equality with men. So I'm here to tell you today that's not really what feminism is.
Well, we all knew that, but thanks for admitting it.
That is quite a basic, watered down version of feminism. It's what you'll hear celebrities who are using the word feminism as a buzzword say, and it's not really correct.
Yeah, we know. Feminism is about female supremacy.
Feminism is really a movement that is about the liberation of women from the oppression of men.
Hooray! Another feminist have just declared feminism over.
So let me just explain that a little bit by asking the question of why would a woman want to be equal to a man?
Okay, that's a stupid question. Of course she would.
Men are currently in a position in this world where they have the right to objectify and be violent towards and sexualize anyone that they please.
What? What kind of a fucktard are you? Where do you live? The Stone Age or something?
But they're also in a position where they're stereotyped to be aggressive and emotionless and tough.
Okay, so logically you want to be passive, emotional, and weak. Well, that's obviously your prerogative, but that sounds fucking miserable.
So I don't want to be equal to that. And as a white woman, being equal to men would be being equivalent to a white male.
First of all, I think you're confounding mathematically equal with equal under the law. Secondly, what was that thing about a white male there at the end? Would it be better to be equal to a black man? Are white men especially evil? I guess that would explain you feminists bending over backwards for that rape epidemic in Cologne.
And that still leaves several layers of inequality there with regards to race, sexuality, class, and things like that.
Okay, asshole. So what you're saying is that you want equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity.
The word inequality is in itself contradictory. Equality is something that's basically impossible until all oppressed groups are liberated from their oppressors.
What? Where's the contradiction?
So what is feminism? Feminism is a movement for the liberation of women, all women, from the oppression of men.
Okay, fuckhead, so why are so many of your sisters using the dictionary to define feminism?
Now, as I mentioned, there are several different forms of oppression that are discussed within feminism. So what you have to take into consideration is race, class, sexuality, things like disability.
Yeah, but next year you'll have more on that list because feminism is a business and you don't want it to end.
So discussing race in feminism is what's known as intersectionality, and that's probably another word that you will have heard being used quite a lot. Quite a lot of the people who use the word intersectionality are actually using it kind of incorrectly. It was coined by a black woman, and it's supposed to describe quite exclusively the intersectionality of white feminism and black feminism and the feminism of women of color.
So blacks are not people of color. Okay.
So intersectionality is the understanding that women of color face a kind of unique kind of discrimination and oppression that white women do not. So as well as being women, they also face race-based oppression.
So kind of a double whammy as far as victim cards go, huh?
As feminists in this day and age, it's our job to listen to and understand these problems, but never to talk over women of color and black women when they're discussing these things.
Right. Just like Anita Sarkeesian says, just listen and believe.
It's our job to understand how to be an ally, but not to get in the way or talk over or tread on anyone's toes.
Okay, we have a neurological problem here.
There's something wrong with my brain?
Oh yeah.
Well, you feminists always say that men can't be feminists, they can only be allies, which is fine. So that means that you can't be a feminist either. You can only be an ally because the black woman has a double whammy.
Because as a white woman, it's not my subject of expertise. I'm not going to talk over a black woman who's talking about her personal experiences and interject with, oh, well, I read this in an article or something, because I don't know anything about it and it's not my place.
Alright, then maybe you assholes should stop interrupting meetings where men talk about men's issues. You certainly don't know anything about that, and it's not your place.
So women of colour is actually a westernized phrase because it was born out of countries where being Asian or Indian or black is to be in the minority.
An English phrase is a westernized phrase? Who'd have thought? Tell me more, Professor.
When discussing these things, you would never use the term woman of colour for someone who's living in their cultural and ethnic home. So I'd never call a Chinese woman living in China a woman of colour.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
But it is really vital to discuss the forms of discrimination and oppression that take place around the world. So as a white woman living in England, I face certain forms of discrimination, but they would not be the same as someone, say, living in rural India.
Yeah, there is truth in that, so why do you believe that your organization can represent every goddamn woman on the planet?
So, for example, in England, you have got the class systems. In India, you would have the caste systems. In England, you will have race-based oppression. In India, you actually have oppression based on skin color.
Okay, please explain to me how racial oppression and skin color oppression are different.
And you also have oppression based on religion.
Well, you can change your religion, you can't change your skin color, asshole.
And they encounter these oppressions in different ways. So feminism to me is liberating all women from the oppression of men.
We've been over this.
And while that may start at home for someone like me with grassroots and DIY forms of rebellion against these systems, it is really important to take into account what's happening around the rest of the world.
So you're a rebellious teenager is what you're saying.
I still need to educate myself on these subjects and help to bring awareness and campaign against them when I can.
So why are you lecturing if you need to educate yourself? You can't be a professor and a student at the same time.
So good examples of this would include female genital mutilation.
Yeah, 'cause fuck men, who cares if you cut those guys' dicks?
Women and girls being sold into sex slavery.
It's okay if you do it to men and boys though.
Female children being sold as child brides.
Okay, I'll give you that point, even though it could put a serious crimp in my reputation as a soulless harbinger of darkness.
And girl children being killed for being born female.
That's something that's happening in the Western world where feminists are killing their male fetuses.
And what you do need to remember as well is, with Western countries being as diverse as they are nowadays, with different cultures and religions and everything within them, these things do actually happen at home as well.
Even if that's so, that is a matter for law enforcement. It is fucking illegal to do that here, and you're not fucking Batman.
So according to the NSPCC, up to 23,000 girls under the age of 15 could be at risk of female genital mutilation within England and Wales.
Yeah, and thousands of people are gonna get murdered. It is already illegal. And besides, how many boys are gonna get their dicks cut? And that's not even illegal.
So not every woman is equal, not every woman faces the same forms of oppression. So equality with men is kind of an impossible goal.
Yeah, because you've made it impossible by including women from other countries where you have no way of effecting change.
So what we kind of aim to do is liberate women from these oppressions.
Yeah, but I notice that you still haven't defined what that oppression is.
We all have different problems, and a good feminist discussion is one that takes all of these into consideration without talking over the people who are living through these problems.
So, basically a discussion where everything is so moderated and watered down and controlled that nothing will ever be said or done.
So what else does feminism mean?
For fuck's sakes, you guys, we've been over this.
Feminism means support above all else. So forget about girl hate and competition and jealousy, because these things are just symptoms of the patriarchy.
That's priceless.
They're brought on by our representation within the media.
So does life imitate art or art imitate life?
They're brought on by our expectations, and they're brought on by what is, quite frankly, propaganda against women.
Okay, I know you don't have a single link there in your description, but for fuck's sakes, you guys, you can't just throw that out there without having a single example.
Do I look like an idiot?
No. Why don't you show me how your inhaler works?
Feminism means pushing and encouraging women to get to where they want to be without stepping on the toes of other women to get there.
So you're saying women are angels, basically.
Feminism means criticizing our representation within the media, whether that's within films, books, movies, music, television, even art.
And boy howdy, do you ever. Is there any art form that you haven't destroyed yet? I mean, I know you're taking over metal now, so I can't think of anything.
Feminism is striving to see on the screen every form of women represented equally.
So, in other words, state-controlled art.
So a world where Latina women are not shown simply as being over-sexualized.
Okay, see, this is where things get confusing because you have different stereotypes than I do. I've never seen that. All I've seen is Latino women being maids, or badass warriors, or bank robbers, or girly girls, or cops. I guess you're just watching too many Latino chick flicks. Your taste in movies should not dictate to everyone else what they should see.
Or where disabled women are not seen as other or needing to be fixed.
What the fuck does that even mean? Yeah, I mean, we could fix that spinal injury, but fuck that. Let's just let her be. Let's not discriminate against paralyzed people.
Or where black women are actually shown to be real people as opposed to an angry stereotype.
Yeah, you need to watch a more diverse, see what I did there, set of movies.
Feminism means putting an end to violence against women, whether that is domestic violence in a house in England, or systematic violence against girl children in India, or cultural violence against women in the form of FGM.
Yeah, that's all fine and good, but you need to synchronize yourself with your other feminist sisters. They're not spouting the same bullshit as you are, so you need to get your story straight. I will give you credit for admitting that feminism is something that is not there to benefit men because your sisters are saying the opposite. But one of you needs to change the name of your ideology. It's very confusing.
So my ultimate end goal for feminism would be an end to gender and sex-based violence and discrimination and oppression. And as well as that, an end to consumerist society.
You're just the gift that keeps on giving, aren't you? Now you want to destroy capitalism too? For fuck's sakes! I get that you're young and idealistic and delusional, but give me a fucking break.
And I don't know how long it'll take to get there. We probably won't get anywhere near there within my lifetime.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
But if all I can do is use the mediums that are available to me, such as the internet and videos and a magazine.
What, videos are not the internet? What, do you deliver your videos on VHS or something?
To put out these messages and ensure that people hear about the inequalities that are happening around the world and understand these oppressions and this violence against women, then hopefully that will make a difference somewhere down the line, even if I don't get to see it.
Even though you haven't described anything about what that oppression is, you fucking moron.
Women don't get equal pay. They get equal pay for equal jobs, but when you don't do the same job, you don't get the equal pay. What I meant by that was that women don't get the opportunities to do this equal job. So there are many reasons why women wouldn't have the same opportunity. You can look at women in the STEM fields, for example. I mean, women are kind of discouraged from youth to enter into these fields, so science and technology and things like that.
Hey, moron! Fucking moron! Schools are fucking begging for females to enter into that field, you fucking idiot! But for some reason, they want to do what you do. Fucking gender studies. Go figure. Now go to your room.
You moron!
What I meant was, women don't get paid equal because women don't have the equal opportunities to get those jobs in the first place.
Yeah, maybe you don't, but normal women have the same opportunity to get those jobs as anyone else. They just don't want to.
So thank you for watching. I'm the Feminist Killjoy. I'm here to teach you about feminism. Please look out for my next video, and if you have any questions, just pop them below or send me a tweet or something like that.
Oh, you want to have a discussion, do you? Sure. I'll be holding my breath. Can you imagine how stupid this fuckhead is making this 10-minute video berating everything that has to do with men? And it doesn't even enter into her mind that that wouldn't go over well and someone would oppose it. Jesus Christ.
Bros before hoes, man.
Anyway, that concludes our show for tonight, so thanks for watching and see you next time.